Our movie begins with Trevor, who is rewinding the tape of his life, a life that used to consist of his very small family, just his wife and daughter, a family that was growing day by day. He remembers the atmosphere of New Year's Eve, which they always spent together, until suddenly we are surprised to see only the daughter and her mother, without Trevor. A year after that last video, our hero's situation has completely changed. He is living entirely alone after his wife separated from him and took their daughter.
We see him waking up just days before New Year's Eve. The weather is freezing cold, and it's clear his financial situation has hit rock bottom. He's actually warming himself with a tea kettle, not even caring if the electricity shocks him and relieves him of this world entirely. At that moment, his ex-wife calls. It's clear the relationship is very respectful. They haven't dragged each other through family court, thank God. We know this when she says, "I see it's very cold where you are." But Trevor reassures her, lying that the weather there is actually quite nice and promising to show them the place when they visit. She interrupts him to explain, "I'm sorry, Trevor, but my boyfriend wants to spend Christmas with us for the first time, me and your daughter. He's even offering to pay her university tuition." When Trevor objects, clarifying that he is her father and he is the one obligated to pay, she replies, "Fine, I'll leave it to you. I was just considering that your circumstances are tight these days." Ironically, at that exact moment, Trevor receives an eviction notice saying he'll be kicked out if he doesn't pay up. Still, he assures her that God provides and she shouldn't worry, and he hangs up. On his way to work, he texts his daughter wishing her a happy New Year's Eve. He enters his workplace immediately. He's a supervisor at a school. The administration welcomes him and explains he will supervise the New Year's play and be responsible for the child acting in it. Afterward, the manager takes him to her office and expresses her sadness because this is his last day. With extreme politeness, she says, "I am very sorry that we are letting you go." She asks, "How long have you been with us?" When he replies, 8 months, she responds with all the politeness in the world, "Strange, it feels like years." Trevor is confused because it's clear she completely misunderstands her own insult. While they prepare the stage decor, there's a knock at the door. Trevor goes out and finds a newborn boy on the doorstep. Without a doubt, he assumes this is the actor boy for the play and that his mother dropped him off and left. He is, truthfully, a beautiful baby. Trevor immediately carries him inside, and the play begins. Trevor takes a moment to check his bank account, checking what's coming in versus what he owes, and finds he's basically broke. At that same time, he gets a call from an employment agency asking if he still works as a house sitter. Trevor replies, "No, not at all. I quit that job ages ago. Why do you still have my number?" But when he hears the amount offered for a very short period, just 48 hours, he is so shocked that he casually drops a piece of stage decor right on the boy. He agrees to come to London for the interview immediately. He starts locking up the theater with love and happiness because of the new job, but as he locks the door, he is surprised by the sound of a small child crying. He's confused and follows the sound, only to be shocked that everyone left and forgot the boy. He doesn't know what to do, but he weakens in front of the kid's gaze and picks him up. He goes inside to call the mother who dumped him there that morning, but she's in a parallel universe, totally unaware anything is missing from her home, and doesn't answer. He decides to go to her himself so he can make his interview on time without issues. As soon as he arrives and she opens the door, he is shocked to see she is going out holding her son. He prays to himself, "Hopefully that's his twin brother and not what I'm thinking." He shows her the boy he's holding and says, "Sorry, I know these are minor details, but you forgot your son." She explains that she never sent her son to the play because he was sick, and she has no child other than the one she's holding. Trevor stands in stunned silence, realizing he is the one stuck with the burden in the end. He leaves and calls the police, explaining everything in boring detail, but finds no solution. They transfer him to social services. They take his data and agree on a time to collect the boy. Because Trevor is so happy about the temporary high-paying job, he doesn't want to ruin his mood. He takes the boy to his house. He packs a travel bag while the boy is on his bed. While humming to himself, unaware, he is surprised to find the boy has disappeared. After a short search, he finds him teetering on the edge of the stairs, about to fall. He catches him just in time and puts him back. The policeman arrives as agreed. Just as Trevor goes to hand him the boy, the kid has vanished again. Trevor searches everywhere, to the point the policeman doubts his sanity, especially with Trevor's coochie-coo baby talk. The policeman leaves, giving Trevor his card and warning him to call when he finds the kid. The moment the cop leaves, the child appears. Trevor grabs him and runs after the policeman, but the car is already gone.
He goes back inside and tries to call the number on the card, but gets a voicemail saying the officer isn't available until after New Year's Eve. Since Trevor wants to finish this mess for his London trip, he decides to take the kid along and drop him at the station on the way. He tries to call, but the signal cuts out on the road. He repeats his information more than 5 times until his phone battery dies. In the end, he surrenders to reality and takes the boy with him. He arrives in London and is surprised by the sheer size of the building. He tries to hide the boy as much as possible, but when he learns the manager is coming down to meet him personally, he decides to hide the kid inside his travel bag. He walks stiffly, like a robot, and she doesn't notice his weird movements. She informs him the elevator to the apartment requires a code, and there are only 2 copies of this code. One was lost, and she confirms the last copy is now with him. As soon as he enters the apartment, he feels he's entered a palace, a massive suite. All this time, the boy is in the bag. Trevor tries to shake his body as if he's playing with him to muffle any noise. The manager looks at him and asks if he needs the bathroom. At the mention of it, the boy loudly uses the bathroom in the bag. Our hero is in a terrible position, so he decides to get rid of the bag. He excuses himself, takes the bag off, and leaves it at a distance without her noticing. He finally feels relieved, but while she's showing him the house, the boy gets out of the bag and starts exploring too. Poor Trevor's heart nearly stops from worrying the kid might fall or get hurt. But the moment passes, the manager doesn't notice, and the boy is fine. Trevor grabs him while she's not looking and hides him in a waste bin. Finally, she leaves the elevator code with him, emphasizing it's the only one, and tells him his work starts now. After she leaves, he enjoys the luxury and comfort, but the boy has a different opinion and starts whining. Just as Trevor goes to silence him, the police call to get his current address. After he gives it to them, they confirm they'll send someone from London. He hangs up quickly to deal with the whining. As he picks the child up, he smells something strange and realizes he needs to change the diaper. He tries to use his brain to find an alternative. He searches the apartment until he opens a drawer and finds ladies' scarves. He takes one, plugs his nose, and puts the boy in the small sink until the operation is a success. After all this cleaning, he throws the diaper on the terrace, but the whining continues. He thinks, you're right, son. You haven't eaten since morning. He makes a bottle, but it runs out, and the whining doesn't stop. He realizes he has to go down and buy baby food. Trevor gets ready, but feels the boy needs to get ready too since it's freezing outside. By chance, he finds a beanie, puts it on the kid, and takes him to the supermarket. He buys every baby food he knows, remembering the time he cared for his daughter, even buying the foods she used to love. On the way back, the policewoman calls, confirms his full details, and asks for a pickup time. They agree on 7. She repeats, "Are you sure? It's New Year's Eve tomorrow. We don't want problems." She hangs up and he goes home. After doing everything for the boy, he remembers the most important thing: sleep. Honestly, the boy starts yawning first. Trevor takes him to bed, carries him to the bedroom, and unpacks his bag, most importantly, his daughter's photo. Just as he says goodnight to sleep, he wakes up terrified by a scream. He realizes the boy is awake. He tries every method to make him sleep, jumping on the bed, walking the hallway, every move in the book. Trevor is exhausted and wants to sleep. Finally, the boy relaxes. Turns out it was just colic. Trevor is happy, puts him back in bed, and says goodbye. Despite the boy's calm smile, the moment Trevor moves, he starts screaming again. Trevor looks for a pacifier and finds nothing but alcohol bottles. He takes a cork from a bottle and puts it in the boy's mouth. He barely sleeps 2 hours before waking up to screams again, this time a diaper change. This continues until Trevor has used almost every scarf in the house. Morning comes. Trevor sits waiting for the supermarket to deliver diapers. Suddenly, he sees the boy climbing the stairs. He sprints, picks him up, and mutters, "Damn responsibility. God help mothers." Finally, the delivery guy arrives. Trevor can't figure out the intercom. Because he takes too long, the worker leaves. Trevor rushes down the elevator, grabs the diapers, and leaves the boy alone. On his way back up, he realizes he doesn't have the elevator code. He is terrified for the boy, imagining exactly what could happen to him. Trevor is nervous. He decides to call the cleaning lady who has a copy of the code. He grabs the logbook at reception, searching for her name until he finds it. As he pulls out his phone to call, he discovers his mobile is upstairs too. We even see a text message arriving on it on the nightstand. By chance, a resident is going up in the elevator. Trevor runs after him, introducing himself. "Sir, I am Trevor, the sitter in the apartment." The resident isn't interested. Just as he's about to leave, Trevor stops him. I forgot the code and came to call the cleaner but discovered I forgot my phone. The resident clearly can't stand the chatter this early. Suddenly we see Trevor using the resident's phone to call the cleaner. She explains she can't open it without the manager's permission. He asks, "How much time do you need, all in all?" She says, "About 30 minutes. Wait for me and I'll call you back." Of course, he's on the neighbor's phone. The neighbor takes his phone back and moves to leave, but Trevor insists, "Sorry, but she's going to call back on your phone. Can I stay with you until she calls?" He actually goes up with him. The man isn't laughing. He looks like his face might crack, but inside his apartment he's totally different, having lovely family vibes. Meanwhile, the baby is making his way to the summit of the stairs. Trevor waits for the cleaner, staring at the man's phone. When the resident takes his phone to make a call, Trevor grabs a pillow from the floor and sits right next to him, literally right behind him. Everyone is surprised by his boldness, but they let it slide. At the same time, the social worker arrives to collect the child. The baby is determined to climb the last step, thinking he's in a different movie.
Trevor is still waiting. The resident opens up to him, talking about his beautiful daughter and her kids, complaining about their landlord. The social worker keeps calling Trevor's phone and leaves a message telling him to contact the police. Suddenly, the resident's phone rings. Trevor grabs it instantly, but it's the resident's daughter on video call. They exchange greetings. Amazingly, at that exact second, the cleaner calls. Trevor hijacks the phone, interrupts them, and she confirms she'll be there in half an hour and he needs to meet her downstairs. She arrives, swipes him into the elevator, and leaves. But as the doors close, Trevor realizes he left the diapers in the lobby. He wishes time would stop. He gets an idea to block the elevator door with his shoe. He tests it, and it works, but the elevator keeps trying to close and the shoe wiggles. At the last second, the door shuts. Trevor runs to catch the cleaner. She's ordering coffee. He drags her back. The little boy has reached the top of the stairs, planning a disaster to send Trevor to prison for life. At the elevator, another resident gets on with her dog. The dog sees Trevor's shoe jammed in the door and loves it like it holds memories. Finally, Trevor gets to the apartment. No baby. He hears a voice in an empty space. He traces it to the washing machine hose. Suddenly, the baby falls into his lap. Thank God it ended like that. At night, he leaves a message for the center explaining the situation since the employee left. He asks when they can pick the boy up. Just as he's about to sleep, his daughter calls from the airport. Her plane is delayed. She tells him how much she loves him. "If not for the travel, I would have spent New Year's Eve with you. I'm sorry." She hangs up. Trevor finally sleeps, but suddenly hears the elevator door open. He investigates and finds a man, his wife, and their infant son raiding the fridge. They are terrified when they see him. The wife stammers, "I'll explain everything. We live in the basement, or a corridor belonging to the apartment." They admit they were evicted and were only looking for food. Just as they are leaving, Trevor calls out, "I have one like him, by the way." He means the baby, confirming it's not his and he wants to get rid of it. He gives them food and the baby supplies he bought. He turns his back for a second, afraid they might trick him, but they disappear completely. In the morning, Trevor can't find his other shoe. The dog has it. He manages, takes the boy, and goes out. On the road, he meets a group of women with their kids. They admire the boy and ask his age. When he says 3 months, they say he's huge for that age. Smartly, he replies, he takes after his mother. Unfair. They look at him with disdain, so he walks away. Suddenly, his missing shoe is thrown onto the street. He's surprised, but before he can rejoice, the same dog runs and grabs it. The boy laughs. To solve the problem, Trevor takes off his other shoe and throws it far away. He solved it, relieved himself, gave us a headache, and walks home in socks. He returns to the house and finds the squatter couple entering. They thank him. They are going on an errand and ask if he can watch their son since he has one like him. They leave him safely. Trevor gets used to the situation, bottle-feeding both babies simultaneously with crossed hands, pitying himself. He puts both to sleep in separate beds. Finally, the social worker arrives. Trevor wakes up, runs to her, and hands over the boy. She takes a picture. Before she leaves, after signing papers, he feels she took a piece of him. He got attached. He asks, "Can I know what will happen to him?" She replies, "This isn't your child, Mr. Trevor. Everything from here is confidential." He opens the door and says goodbye with his eyes. Before returning to the apartment, the neighbors arrive. He feels relief. He goes to hand them their son, assuring him he slept easily. They look at the baby and are shocked. "That's not our son." Trevor realizes he gave the social worker the wrong boy. They run to catch her. Thank God she's arguing with a policeman over a ticket. No matter how Trevor tries to interrupt to get the baby, no one listens. He opens the car door and cakes the baby himself, intending to swap them. But by the time he brings the original boy down, the employee has driven off, thinking the baby is still in the back seat. He tries to call but gets her voicemail. To top it off, the manager calls. The owners are coming to spend New Year's Eve at home and don't know there's a guard. She begs him not to make trouble until she sends the main housekeeper so they don't discover she hired new people. She assures him he'll get paid. Trevor doesn't care. He just needs to know what to do with the boy. Trevor goes back inside. As he packs, the replacement housekeeper calls. She says she has a problem and can't come on time. She has a huge grocery list. She says, "I'll write down what I need, please buy it, and I'll do my best to arrive before the owners." She faxes the list. He grabs the first page. Okay, that's a lot. Suddenly, papers pour out of the fax machine, filled with requests. Meanwhile, the social worker arrives at her destination and is surprised the boy isn't with her. Back to Trevor at the supermarket. He's trying not to miss a single item, his patience wearing thin. He walks like a train with carts trailing behind him. He arrives home realizing the requests are excessive. What is this extravagance? Because of his kind heart, he takes some food down to the squatter couple. On his way to the elevator, he finds his shoe. He can't believe it returned. He stares at it, then takes it. As he goes up, the dog chases him, determined to take it back. The dog handler doesn't notice and leaves. Trevor can't catch her. Because he's kind, he leaves a note in the elevator saying the dog is with him. He goes up to the apartment, which is now basically a refugee camp, but the dog goes straight for the specific meat the housekeeper ordered, gripping it with his teeth. Trevor tries to get it back, uselessly. He takes out his shoe-shaped keychain to tempt the dog. The dog sucks the keychain into his mouth. The disaster? The elevator code is inside the keychain. Trevor tries to open the dog's mouth, but no use. He has no solution but to wait for the dog to pass it in the bathroom. But at the last moment, he has an idea to try opening the elevator with the dog. Ironically, it opens. Trevor is reassured. He waits for the housekeeper, but she calls again. She's delayed further. She asks him to buy New Year's decor and a tree. The tree arrives. The boy watches the scientific miracle Trevor performs, decorating a huge tree simply. The boy is impressed. Things start to resolve. The job is ending. The dog decides to finally expel the code. Trevor takes him to do his business, puts the waste in a bag, tests it against the elevator, and it works. Code inside. Unfortunately, he tests it right in front of the dog's owner, who stands there wondering what on earth he's doing. The night is approaching. Just as he's about to sleep, the housekeeper calls again. Carbon copy of the last call. "See the requests you bought? I'm sending cooking instructions. The feast must be ready exactly as requested." The fax machine spews tons of papers again. After severe suffering, Trevor cooks a complete feast alone. He's ready for the owners. He takes the boy upstairs, who practices welcoming them at the door. Hours pass. No one comes. He covers the food so it won't spoil. He calls the manager to say no one came, assuring her the assistant is busy in the kitchen, lying to protect her. The manager says, "What? Didn't I tell you? The owners changed their minds. They aren't coming. I forgot to tell you. Sorry." Trevor is crushed. He worked so hard and wanted to see their joy, but his saddest night turns into his happiest. First, the policeman arrives because the social worker reported the missing child. When he sees the boy, he realizes it's not the one in the photo. Trevor says, "Forget it. Come spend this beautiful night with us. There's lots of food." Seconds later, the squatter couple arrives to greet him. He invites them to eat. Then, the resident whose phone Trevor used comes to give him his apartment code because he's moving out, and the landlord said to leave it there. He's invited to eat too. But then, Trevor gets a call from his ex-wife. After traveling to London to catch a connecting flight, it was cancelled. She asks, "So you are in London?" He says, "Yes. I'll send the address. Come spend the day with me." Then the social worker arrives to get the boy. Suddenly, the house is full. They ask who the boy is. Trevor explains this tiny thing, less than a handspan, is the reason for this gathering. They eat together. Trevor is amazed at his luck. Suddenly, the boy is missing. They search everywhere and find him. Finally, the original owners do show up. They tell Trevor they changed their plans last minute and decided to come home after all. And our hero probably needs stroke medication right about now. What a chaotic ending! But let's be real for a second. Did you notice that the dog was the actual villain of this entire movie? I want to know what you think. Drop your favorite scene in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this recap, make sure to smash that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a story. Catch you in the next one.